Hi, welcome back to the Jac and Glen channel. I'm Jackie.
And I'm her husband, Glenn.
He's my husband, Glenn.
Hey, before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of our reviews. Also, make sure you join our membership so you can get some updated information on your favorite shows that you like to see us review, whether it's Married at First Sight or Ready to Love. Today we're reviewing Married at First Sight, Season 15, Episode number 10, Moody Monthiversaries. And they were very, very moody this season on Married at First Sight. So we went from people who were very happy to people that were very, very mad and upset. So, where you want to get started at?
Oh, I don't care.
Let's do something good. Let's get started with Stacia and Nate.
Alright. So, we see... First thing with Stacia and Nate is we just see them chatting in a bed, talking about how meeting with the couples. They see that everybody has been having their challenges. So obviously it's not unique to them. And then the next thing we see is Stacia making some cookie bars with her mom. We get to see her beautiful mom with that pretty gray hair.
Yeah, mom's pretty. Mom's real pretty.
Come try to talk to Stacia and calm her fears. Calm her fears.
Yeah, she got a lot of fears. A lot of issues. I mean, she told mom a little bit about what was going on with her and Nate. So...
yeah, she says, you know, she can see that he's trying to open up, but he's a slow mover, unlike her. She came into the process ready to be open and honest and share her feelings and everything. And her mom is like, you're saying it, he's a slow mover, and if he says that he's feeling that love for you, then you should trust him. And Stacia's like, that's the problem, he's not saying it. She was like, but is he showing it to you?
Yeah, and I think that's been the biggest issue on this show all the time. People want to hear the words "I love you." It does something to people. When you hear the words "I love you," and they overlook all the things that the person is doing for you that show love. And you forget that love is an action word. Love is a verb, so that means it has to be shown. There's some action behind it. So he's doing all the actions. He's just not saying it out of his mouth. And I don't understand the disconnect. Well, I can see where the disconnect is at, but she wants to hear the words "I love you." She doesn't want to see the action. She wants to see the actions as well as hear the words.
Well, yeah, and her thing is, she says she sees him showing it to her in future talk, like talk about future, but like, I need to see it in the present. She's like, you know, he's not opening up emotionally, and she was like, her mom's like, but it's been a month, right?
Yeah, and that's my thing too. It's only been 4 weeks. I mean, you want him to say "I love you" in 4 weeks. I mean, he's not Justin who said it in 3 days. So sometimes it takes people. It's a process, and we see this on the show on this show a lot. I think about a lot of couples who say wait till the decision day or close to the decision day to say "I love you." I can't remember the couple from DC that did. Jessica and Austin. Yeah, it is. Jessica and Austin. It took Austin a long time. They didn't have any issues. Didn't have any problems during their season. The biggest issue they had was he hadn't said "I love you" yet. And it took him up until decision day to say it because he said he valued the L word. So I think maybe Nate's the same situation, or Nate's the same way that he want to make sure it's real. And he probably passes 40% now. And, you know, he's waiting for the right type of moment to say, look, I love you. He's doing all the love things, but just haven't said the words.
Yeah, Stacia says she realizes that she just needs to be patient, but that is hard for her. And her thing is that in the past, she's been too trusting of guys, and that's hurt her. So she doesn't want to do that too fast. You know, she said, I've been let down. And her mom gets emotional because she says in her vignette, I kind of feel like that's my fault because, you know, she's seen me in relationships. And I feel like the way my relationship have contributed to her lack of trust. But her mom encourages her to, you know, still ask questions of Nate, still try to dig in, but allow him to earn the trust and give him some time. And Stacia gets teary. She says, you know, she feels empty because she's not getting the answer she needs. And her mom again says, give him some time and give him some space and allow him to move at his pace.
And that's part of, I think that's part of her controlling issues, because the way she moves and the way she interacts in the business that she's in, she gets answers quickly. She gets fast paced. She's a mover. She's a shaker. And when you don't get those answers and becomes the insecurity that you have, and you start thinking about all these things, that's why she's getting emotional. She doesn't want him to leave her. She's invested in this, right? She's doing all these things to try to say, I'm committed, or all these things that he's committed. I mean, she's invested, so she want to make sure there's 100%. She already changed her name, for God's sake, so she want to make sure it's right. Mm-hmm. And so she wants him to give her reassurance that I didn't do this for nothing. Mm-hmm. She needs that reassurance.
The next thing we see with them actually involves one of the other couples. We see Stacia going to pick up Luna from Mitch and Krysten, because they're going somewhere on the weekend, mm-hmm. and she thought it would be good to watch Luna because Nate wants a dog, and so this is good practice for them. But what she didn't know was Luna came with a lot.
Yeah,
and,
Luna high maintenance.
Yeah, well, not even that. So, well, yeah, kind of. But first thing is, you know, she speaks to Luna, and Luna makes a noise. It sounds like a growl, but it's really her breathing.
Yeah, Luna need an asthma pump. Do they do that for dogs?
I don't know.
Do dogs get asthma pumps, or do dogs get like oxygen tanks and stuff? Put tubes in their nostrils?
I don't know. I don't think so. Oh. But yeah, so Krysten gives her the whole rundown, the lint roller and wrinkle cleaner and poop bags, and you got to do this, and here's a whole schedule for how Luna. She gives her the whole Luna survival kit / bag.
Stacia did the same thing I would do. And that
was like, gosh,
it's a lot, and she's like, I got to pick up poop. Like, it's outside. It's good for the earth. Which I don't understand. Y'all dog lovers, let me know. I mean, I don't know. Why are we picking up poop? If it's in the woods or in the backyard, I understand in your front yard. But if it's in the backyard, I'm not. Why pick up poop?
Yeah.
It goes.
I think the main thing is if it's on sidewalks and streets, like, that bothers me. You know, I expect poop to be in the grass.
I'm surprised that Mitch, and it's not about Mitch yet, but I'm surprised Mitch let her use the little baggies to pick up the poop. Being an environmentalist, I would think he would let the dog go back into the earth like it's supposed to.
Well, not even that so much, but have a problem with the plastic bags picking the poop up.
Yeah, plastic bag picking up the poop. I guarantee Mitch don't pick up poop.
But anyway, so then later we see Nate with his little video, and Luna is doing her thing like she did before to her little pet Tempur-Pedic bed, just having a humping good time.
He said the same thing I do. Why do
why?
female dogs hump? He was confused.
Why is she doing that? But it looks like other than that, they didn't really have a problem with Luna. We see Nate and Stacia going to the lawyer. And at first we were like, why are they going to the lawyer? They are literally doing the post-nup right now.
Yeah, which is, I don't understand. I don't know California state laws. I do know they signed a prenup on Married at First Sight beforehand.
Did I say prenup? I meant post-nup.
Yes. Yeah, no, you said post-nup.
Okay.
But they do sign a prenup before the whole Married at First Sight experience. And this is, to me, just added protection for her. And it's for Nate, is just showing that, look, I'm committed to this process. I'm committed to our marriage. If this is what you need me to do to make you feel comfortable, I'm willing to do it. One thing I did not like was when she talked about the 90 and 10. She wanted, whatever she bring in, that's what she wanted to take out. And Nate was like, yo, let's split this bad boy.
No, he didn't.
No.
Mm-mm. He said that made sense to him. He said it made sense that whatever you contribute, that's what you should take away. Because she said, she's trying to trust him more, especially since he's agreed to the post-nup and also, as a side note, the therapy thing. But she said she did acknowledge that for her it's hard because trusting him means she has to relinquish control. And obviously she has a thing about control.
Nope.
But while they were sitting there talking to a lawyer about the post-nup, they talked about the fact that they want separate accounts for now, but they're working towards a joint account. And so how does that work if something doesn't work out with the split? If somebody gives 90% and the other person gets 10%, how's that split? And it was kind of like a dramatic pause there. But Nate did say, he said, that makes sense to me if we split it evenly for what was contributed on each.
I think they might have to look at California state laws, because once you get married, some things are not, well, I guess that is a binding contract with a post-nup, but I would think in marriage, again, you can't cut your half of the lights off. But that's their marriage, and I wouldn't do it. Whatever we make when we marry is what we take when we marry. We split that bad boy down the middle. If you sell a house, you split it down the middle. But that's a whole different different podcasts, different area, because they.
Yes, I will say it's not split down the middle if you didn't contribute.
Yeah, but
to the middle.
But that's her house, though. Why would it? I mean, again, it's her house. I understand it's her money, and she wants to put 90 in, but he's gonna put what? What if his 90? Again, his argument has always been my 100 may not be her 100, or so my 50, my 100% of what I put in. No, is.
Oh, but when it comes to money, that is abundantly clear. It's obvious if you put $100 in and I put 1,000.
I know it's obvious, but I'm saying what at the same time. If you two become one, why don't your money become one?
It does, but when the two unbecome one,
right.
it gets split.
It should get split. It shouldn't be, oh, you brought this in and I brought this in.
That's what that posting up is saying.
But that's a lot to dig with, though, because if we say they married for 10, 15 years, who wants to go back to 10, 15 years and figure out how much money you actually put into this thing?
They will, though.
That's ridiculous to me. Just split it down the middle and call it a day.
But that's why we said before, once you get to a divorce, it's a business transaction. And in a business transaction, that's what has to go into it. And you just know that that's what's happening.
Well, why can't he put a value on his love and all the stuff that he's done? And she, same thing, likewise. They have kids in those years. You put a value on being a mother, being a value on staying home. And then you split that way. You can't, there's no monetary split on that.
No, I mean, then that's a whole different split.
Yeah. So
anyway, so then we see Stacia and Nate. They have a outdoor dinner. Have a nice little setting.
Right. Those roses got in my way though. Them roses still hanging down. I'm like, that's irritating.
For the Monthiversary, and they talk about, what have you learned? And he was like, for me, I learned, that I wasn't. He wasn't where they would be. He was afraid that if they weren't in a certain place, that his feelings and his input was being dismissed.
Right.
And so, he learned that basically that irritated me, that I'm doing things, but you're not noticing it. And so that had me not sure of what place we were actually in. And
I don't know. People want affirmation. I'm gonna say people. I'm not gonna say men want affirmation, and I think that's sometimes what women don't. They expect men to just do, and that sometimes men maybe just expect women to do. But I think in relationships, you have to give affirmation to your spouse or to your mate. They need the affirmation. Whether you did a good job here, even for the simple thing. Oh, you put gas in my car. Thank you. Or you put, you vacuumed the floor, thank you. Oh, you did the dishes, thank you. Oh, you made the bed this morning, appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Or you left the toilet seat, you put the toilet seat down today, thank you. I think affirmation is key in relationships because, again, it builds the person up that you're dealing with. And he was going through that issue, like he felt like she didn't appreciate anything he did, or he didn't value his opinion. And that's a hard place to be at. And I mean, Nate was struggling. That's probably why he said 40%.
Yeah, he said her talk related to trust hurt him, and it messed him up, and it's hard to open up when the other person is closed off in some arenas. And he was like, when your spouse is a B, he was like, she said, did you just call your spouse a B? He was like, yeah.
Yeah,
I think he would have did better if he said acting like.
Yeah, she was taken back, but then they laughed it off.
Yeah. But he said he sees a change now, and he actually acknowledges her. He said, I feel like I'm falling in love with her.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm falling in love with you. And she was like, and he's like, why are you acting all surprised? And she was like, so does that mean I moved up on the scale? He was like, yeah, the scale moved up to between the 7 and the 8. And she was like, okay. And that's
all she wanted to hear.
She feels like because now they've gotten over this hurdle, she's like all smiles, and he trusts that they're committed to each other. They get to the point where she can trust that he's committed to her and vice versa. And to show their commitment, the last thing we see with them just by themselves is them going to get a tattoo. They get tattoos of their wedding date on their hand, like right here. No, right here.
Yeah,
because it's the wedding date.
Well, yeah, in Roman numerals.
Yes.
Yeah, Roman numerals. So they did that, and that showed his commitment. But again, I go to the point. He has showed total commitment to her. What commitment has she showed to him besides letting him move in the house? Her house. He done everything she needed, the posting up, the tattoos, total commitment. What has Stacia really given Nate?
She already took his last name. She's already said that she loves him. She expresses emotions to him. She's shown her commitment.
Okay. I mean, I just didn't. I thought it was just a house. I didn't think about all the other stuff. Which to me was like, she really hasn't verbalized or outwardly showed the commitment.
She has though. She's.
But the last the last name, really, was it about him, or really was it about her getting rid of her father's last name?
It was about him, cause again, she could have changed her name anytime.
Right, but she wanted to do. Her thing was, I want to do it when I get a husband. So for her to share it, change it that quickly, it to me was like, hey, it is. I'm just happy to have somebody different last name. No, not that I'm really committed to you. I'm just happy to have somebody's last name.
No, she's committed. I'm married, and when I'm married, for her, I changed my last name to his. So it wasn't just about getting rid of the dad's last name.
But it's what she said afterwards too, though. If we get divorced, I'm still keeping his name. No, go back to your own name. If it's not just about the name, you see what I'm saying? To me, I think it's really about it shows she's committed to him, but at the same time, if something happens to their relationship, she's not gonna go back to her other name, and you're no longer committed to him. So why do you keep it?
Because she's committed to the change that took place.
Okay.
She's not changing her last name because this happened. It might not have worked out, but it was a change in my. So I went from Stacia whatever to Stacia Barnes, and I'm gonna be Stacia Barnes.
Gotcha. All right, we're good. I'm good.
Next up, Miguel and Lindy.
Miguel and Lindy, let's go.
All right. So opening with them, we see Miguel in the kitchen doing some semi-baby boy stuff in the kitchen, cooking, no shirt on, just this sleep pants on, but she's talking about, he fixed me breakfast.
She like what she sees. She like what she sees.
Yeah. We see them for around their Monthiversary thing. We see them go out on a boat. They go sailing, and they talk about how they don't feel like it's been just been a month since they got married. You know, they gotten real familiar with each other, and they chat while eating off of the charcuterie board.
Yeah.
On the boat. And Miguel was saying how he read that, you know, for a relationship to last, there has to be reliability and predictability. And, you know, she was like, so even with what I've shown you, with my emotions kind of being unpredictable, you still feel like that? And he was like, yeah, because it's predictable because I know you're going to go off the deep end.
Yeah.
That's the predictable part.
It happens. And she's going to do it. She's going to say the F word.
Yeah, he was like, you know, I'm the type of person where, like, the unknown scares me. But, you know, he says, you know, I've seen you at your worst, so I feel like I'm good with it. She was like, but you haven't, though. And he's like, oh.
Yeah, that scared him a little bit. I mean, what you've done and what you've shown me is not your worst, and I'm really in trouble.
That's not the worst.
Yeah, he feel in his mind, he's like, I'm in trouble. Like, what are we doing?
But the last thing with the boat, it starts raining on the boat, and she starts kind of freaking out. Oh, it's raining. What are we gonna do? But she starts doing her Lindy thing. Let the professionals be the professionals. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be fine. It's just a storm. It'll pass. The next thing we see with her, she's talking in her vignette. She's like, you know, I feel so comfortable with Miguel, that he can calm the anxious side of me. She's like, I'm much less anxious since meeting Miguel. I've been biting my nails a whole lot less, and that's an accomplishment. And she shows her nails. I'm like, dang.
Yo, yeah, that was me. Like, you just be biting your nails.
No, I ain't take it like that. I was like, gosh, we've really only seen the tip of the iceberg when it comes to her anxiety issues, her freaking out. That said to me, she must really have anxiety.
Oh, can I say that? Can you use the word spaz?
I
Yeah, bump it, man. Y'all get mad. She spazzes. And so her spazzing is her anxiety causes her to go off the deep end. And we saw that with the insurance. She went off the deep end just for the insurance. So I can imagine if it's something else or something deeper that she really could go off the deep end. And what will make Miguel say, you know what? And she does. He may run if he sees I don't want to say Hurricane L, not Hurricane K. If he sees Hurricane L or Category 5, he may leave. I mean, I like to know what. I know she doesn't do it, but I wonder what category was the insurance situation.
I don't know, but she was like, he's been doing a good job dealing with her and those parts of her that are kind of hard to deal with, but she says he's been doing a good job. We see them get their Monthiversary basket, and you know they're looking through the pictures, and she laughs at how awkward her positioning was during their kiss, and she points this out, she points that out, and Miguel's like, she's kind of turning a good moment into a bad moment because she's so hypercritical going through the pictures and everything, and he was like, it's distracting to me. Like, I just want to, let's just look at the pictures, let's just go to vows and just appreciate how beautiful that day was and stop critiquing it.
Being a negative Nancy.
Yeah, so when they go over their vows, you know, she says, and looking at he's been living up to his vows, and she says, you know, this is the healthiest relationship I've ever had, and, you know, you haven't said I love you, but I could tell that you're committed, and so that makes me feel good. And it was really, they were pretty uneventful.
Oh yeah.
This episode, considering I think they had their stuff last time.
They laid back and watched, especially when they got to the dinner. But they just watched everything, and you can see body reactions. But I think Miguel is trying to do. I see him just. He's being very patient with her. Mm-hmm. Where in times past, I think he would have already ran and checked out. I think he's being very patient with her. And he probably would have bounced. Because, again, nobody wants to be with a person that always starts fires, or a person that's always see the negative in everything. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what she does. Her anxiety is causing her to see the negative stuff. And that's the way she converses with him. But he's reading through that and kind of giving her some more reassurance that everything's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. He still haven't given a reassurance that he's going to be around after 8 weeks. But right now, everything's fine.
Mm-hmm. So, even though these two couples, it's a lot for them at the couples dinner, I think we'll hit them real quick. And then we'll hit the explosion. We want to do that after the couples dinner or before?
Let's do it before.
All
we
right.
go before.
So let's go to Krysten and Mitch. So, opening with them, we see Krysten meeting with her friend Zoe to go make candles, and Zoe's asking her, you know, how are things going? And Krysten says, you know, married life is as good as she thought it would be, but she's very conflicted.
Yeah.
And Zoe was kind of like, how is it so good if you're conflicted and you have this issue? But she says, you know,
very simple.
He got obsessive about her sharing her dream about flipping houses and made it very negative, went to a negative connotation, and like that threw her for a loop. It was like he made her feel like she needed to rethink her dreams based on his opinion. And, you know, she was just like, I want somebody that's going to be there for me and support my dreams and not be so critical of what it is that I say I'm doing. And she said, you know, it was like, it made her think about her parents and how, like, it would really hurt her if they didn't approve of her husband. Like, they wouldn't, obviously, no parent wants their child's spouse to, like, cut them down.
Yeah.
So, you know, she was concerned there. Like, basically, it sounded like to me, like, I wouldn't want to share this with them because they would be like, I don't want nobody hurting my baby. And rightfully so. Don't want nobody hurting my baby neither.
Yeah, I mean, nobody wants that, but at the same time, she has to be able to set her own boundaries, and she hasn't been able to set the boundaries with Mitch. I mean, I understand with your parents and all that, but she has to be able to, hey, Mitch, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I like, don't like, and you irritate me with this, and I feel that you XYZ when it came to my dreams. Mm-hmm. What she shared with Zoe is what she should be sharing with Mitch.
And she did later.
She did later.
She did later. She just...
But I think she felt more comfortable in numbers.
She had an emotional vomit.
Yeah.
But anyway, Zoe says, you know, there are a lot of pieces to Krysten, and, you know, it's kind of given to her like he's not valuing her, or he wants her to change, and she needs somebody who wants her for her. And Krysten said the way she plans to attack it is, I'm going to be the best wife that I can be. And hopefully me being the best wife that I can be will bring out the best version of him. And she said, but ultimately, she was like, marriage is going fine, being married is going fine, but I'm still not sure if he's a match for me.
Yeah.
If we're a match.
And I think Zoe told her, don't be careful by doing so much for him that you don't lose who you are. Because he has to give some give and take as well. And it has to be something on his side to give, and not just you doing that. You know.
Next thing we see is, like we said, Stacia came to get Luna. She's watching Luna for them while they go out of town. They went out of town for the weekend for the Monthiversary. And they drive to the mountains in Julian, California. Never heard of it. But no. It looked nice, but I was thinking, same thing with Miguel and Lindy, as when Krysten and Mitch went to the mountains. It's like, gosh, they look cold.
Yeah, but it's February and it's San Diego.
Yeah,
a little chilly.
They both look cold. Like Lindy had a big old thick coat on, and
yeah,
I feel like I could see Krysten and Mitch blowing their breath when they went on the mountains. But they went to a quiet mind retreat, and when they walk in, you know, Mitch is like, it's giving Buddhist vibes, and Krysten thought it would be good for them to have yoga to start the weekend. And, you know, he said he's looking forward to it because it's very rare that his mind is, like he said, my mind's not usually very quiet.
Nah, it's always running.
I'm going to get to quiet my mind down. That's something I usually don't do. But as they're doing their yoga poses and stretching, I mean, Mitch's age is showing some kind of bad. Cause every move he's like, ugh,
his mind was quiet, but his body wasn't.
She was like, he's doing a lot of grunting.
He was hurting.
Loud.
He was hurting when he got to some of the stretches, his back and his neck and his legs. But he felt relieved afterwards, though. He felt like, hey, I released, as he said, I released a lot of demons. Intention. So.
She was like, you talk about Luna, but bruh, the noises you was just making, good gosh. But, you know, they both talked about how, you know, they feel like they've been pushed to the edge of their marriage with, you know, trying to relate to each other, but they're finding their way. And they talk about, oh, it looks like it's a storm brewing outside. And Krysten was like, well, at least not brewing in our marriage. Not today.
Not today.
So I like that. They get their Monthiversary basket at the retreat at the mountains, which I thought was funny. I was like, silly me. I was like, they came all the way to the mountains to give them their basket, and you were like, I'm sure production staff had the basket.
Yeah,
I'm like,
production already had it. So I'm
like, you so busy worried about producing, how you got time to hold to the basket? But anyway, that was my
job.
That was my I don't want to offend nobody. That was my blonde moment, but
yeah, that's your blonde moment. Yep, blonde moment.
Okay, so anyway, they go through the basket and look at the photos and the vows, and Mitch felt like it was a good reminder for them after, you know, they had such a hard week with the conversation about flipping houses or whatever. And, you know, he says he actually gets real sentimental about, especially the vows. It's like, you know, I needed to hear those again so I can really, you know, put it into practice and see if I'm doing what I should be doing. She gets teary-eyed looking at the pics of her dad, and we know she's a daddy's girl, and that was part of the reason why she didn't want to tell him until the day of that, you know, she was getting married. And their thing is that they could continue with the positive and embracing the moment, that they could probably fall in love.
Yeah. I mean, Mitch has grown on a lot of people, grown on me. I mean, at first people didn't, I wasn't a big Mitch fan, but I like Mitch now. Mitch is doing what he needs to do for his marriage.
And Krysten's thing is, you know, she feels like no matter what happens, she doesn't have it. She won't have any regrets.
Any regrets.
She's put her best foot forward. You know that she tried.
Yeah, whatever. She's giving it. She's putting it all in. She's going all in for Mitch.
All right.
Alexis and Justin.
We're gonna hold the couple thing. So we see Alexis and Justin. It opens with Alexis, like, you know, like, I can't even get in my bed. Look what's going on in my bed. Newton's in my bed with. I'm like, too much for Newton. If
you would snuggle with Justin, he wouldn't have to snuggle with Newton. At all.
But him and Newton was laid up in the bed. The next thing we see is Justin goes fishing with his brother Donnell,
mm-hmm.
and he asks him, you know, how's married life going? And Justin was like, you know, it's been challenging. You know, I realized that I have random outbursts that, you know, no one has called me on before, and, you know, she's calling me out on it, and I'm realizing that my random outburst is kind of draining for her. And on the flip side, we see her talk to her friend Alexis, and she says just that, you know, it's been an emotional roller coaster for me. We've been up and down, and when we have the bad days are really draining.
Yes.
You know, and, you know, I try to see when he's going through his thing, and I try to give him an emotional break to get himself together. She said, but I feel like I'm losing a bit of my drive because I'm shutting down, trying to keep him from shutting down.
It would be draining. If you call somebody on that stuff and they've never been called out, they're in their feelings. They're in some type of way. And we know that she's probably not calling them out in a healthy type way, but she's calling them on his BS. Like, yo, whatever his BS is and whatever it is at the time, she's calling them on it, which is not wrong. I think you should hold your couple, as in marriage, you should hold each other accountable. The delivery is what makes the difference. I think sometimes people look more at the delivery, how you deliver that, and then what you're actually saying. Mm-hmm. Because your delivery is key when you hold somebody accountable.
Her friend Alexis asked her, so if decision day was today, like, what would you do? She was like, right now, I'm somewhere in between. I don't know. I can't say I would say yes. I can't say I would say no. I don't know what I would say.
To me, sometimes Alexis comes off acting like she wants to come off a certain way on TV. So to me, I think some of the things she says is not very, I don't want to say not truthful, but it's not the way she's feeling at the moment. And so she wants to be able to play both sides. Because, again, if you're not feeling him, you ain't feeling him. If you are feeling him, you feel him. And I know in marriages you have some good days and you have some bad days, but they have to make a decision. And she asked, what would you do right now? I don't. To me, I think she was like, I would leave him. Or she's so mostly invested in it right now that she don't want to hurt him by leaving him.
Right. Next we see Alexis and Justin working. They get their anniversary basket, but they're also working on a scrapbook, putting pictures together that they took, and they talk about how marriage has been challenging, but they're working through their issues. And what's complicating is while they're working through those issues, other issues pop up.
Yeah,
are coming up in the process, and he shares with her the conversation that he had with his brother while fishing, and he told him. He was like, my brother basically told me is, you know, we don't have to work on all the issues at once. You know, kind of tackle one thing at a time. And his thing is, he wants to fix the issues, all the issues before his time is up. And she's like, what do you mean time is up? Like, does that mean you giving up? Like, this is the time? Like, the 1 month is it? And he was like, no, it's like, I'm still in there and I feel like I'm running out of time because the 8 weeks is coming close. And when we get to decision day, I want to have the issues worked out so that we can have a good outcome at decision day. And I think she kind of grasped that, but she was like, you know, he was like, I feel like I don't have enough time to fix everything. And she says, you know, let's not focus on the mistake that we can make up and we can regroup. We have time to do that.
Yeah, I think the issue is, you know, he got caught on the word fixed. And we can be honest, there's some things that may not be fixed in 8 weeks' time, and it's in 4 weeks' time. And he has to understand and realize it's not going to be. And again, men are fixers by nature. We want to fix it. We want everything to be nice and smooth. We want it to be 100%. We want everything to be straight. So we are fixers by nature. So if something is broke, whether it's relationship, we want to try to fix it. But in this case, and Alexis was like, you know, he didn't clarify himself enough for Alexis. Like, hey, what are you trying to say? That you want out or you're not going to try anymore? No, that's not what he's saying. And so what I've seen sometimes is that she already has an interpretation in her head of what it is. that he's saying, but then when he tries to break it down, or he can't articulate what he's trying to say until she asks or until she says, "I don't understand," and then he changes up and then articulates in a way that she understands. And that lies a communication issue. Lies him spatting off real quickly and not formulating what he has to say so he can help his wife understand the initial time that he says it.
Yeah, but I also see too, I'm like, I knew what I completely understood what he was saying. I feel like he does have to change the way he says it probably to make it more understandable for her, but she also has to put more of an effort and think and analyze what it is that he's saying. It's a twofold thing.
But it's twofold, but in relationship and marriages, should I have to analyze or should you be very specific? Because sometimes when you leave it vague, because that's been her issue with him, leaving stuff vague and not completely clarifying yourself, it leaves it up to the other person's interpretation of what you want and what you desire and what you're saying. So she clearly didn't understand, and so she was like, "Hey, I need a little bit more information here. You're being too vague. I need some more confirmation. I need you to tell me exactly what it is, because this is what I need to do." I mean, I'm just saying, that's where I can see where she was coming from. I see where he's coming from in that standpoint, but I can see why she asked the question. And what we do sometimes, and I had to think about this. Sometimes we don't have the backstory of their conversation leading up to that, and we don't see a lot of things. So now, or feelings in the moment, and so we see the bit and pieces that the editors want us to see, but it might have been a whole 50-minute or 20-minute other discussion on that, and her response is based off what happened 15 minutes earlier that we didn't see.
Mm-hmm. She did say that if they weren't married, she would give up, because they've experienced too much hurt too fast. But she said this in her vignette, but she says, "I'm still here because I'm here for my husband, because I am married, because I'm sticking, trying to work it out." And
I got a problem with that statement. You're still here for your husband, but why aren't you here for yourself? Meaning, you realize that it's not just Justin who has the issue in this relationship. It is not just, I'm here. It's me too. I'm here for me because I want to be married. Because if you look in the vignette, she had to catch herself several times saying, you, I, you. And then she's like, "Oh, I better not say that, we." And then she went back to I. So to me, it's like, okay, she wants to blame it on him, but when it comes to TV or comes to these vignettes, she's going to make it say we because she wants to seem like she doesn't have anything wrong with her.
I didn't take it like that. I took it when she said, "I'm here for my husband," meaning my husband, like, not for his benefit, but because I have a husband.
Okay.
That's how I took it. Like, I'm here for my husband because I want to be in a marriage. I want to have a husband. And I realized that to be in that space that I can't do what I usually would do. Mm-hmm. That's what I took it to mean. Not that she was only doing it for him, but it's really for her because she has a husband.
Okay.
That's the way I took it. But when she was talking to him, she was like, I feel like because we went through those experiences, we kind of have a cheat code, and we do have enough time. We got time to work on it. Decision date is not, I don't look at it as an end date.
Right.
It's a work towards date. And so we have to make sure we balance it out, working towards that date, towards decision day and what decision we'll make, but also working on us, period. And readjusting.
Yeah, I would love to have heard them say what they're going to work on. What because he was like, let's prioritize. I wanted to see what things they were going to prioritize in what order. Just curious to see what they were going to work on.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and now for the train wreck.
Yeah, this one right here, y'all.
The train wreck. Good God. We open with, we see Morgan meeting with her friend Deborah. And Morgan goes in.
Yeah.
I have a problem. Binh never stopped talking to Justin about their issues daily. Alexis told me what conversations they were having. Justin would be on the speakerphone while he's talking to Binh, and she heard it. And it's just a mess. She talks about the conversation that I let him know that I know you've been talking about me. And so we get to see more of the video from the apartment in the black and white from just the cameras in the apartment. And she was like, you know, I threw out there, Alexis told me everything, and he kind of ran after me, like, wanting to know what happened, tell me, talk to me. And she was like, I hit him. I hit him. I hit him, you know.
Abusive relationship. I'm calling it.
And then I kept walking and I left. I grabbed me some stuff and I went to my place. And when I left, afterwards, Alexis called her. And she was like, Binh is sitting right here beside me in my apartment. And so we get to see that too, you know, with them talking. And you've been saying this and you've been talking stuff about me and blah, blah, blah. But then she also says, you're doing it right now, talking to me in front. Like, what is he supposed to do? And
I have no problem with him going. If you tell me Alexis sold you something, what I'm going to go do is go confront Alexis. Like, what did you tell my wife? Because you didn't tell me what Alexis told you. So I'm going, as a man, as common sense, I'm going to Justin and Alexis' apartment, knock on the door like, yo, what did you tell my wife? Because she gone. Let's have a conversation because I'm mad at you for telling what you said. And then I'm mad at Justin for having the freaking phone on speaker. So my wife can hear.
I'm mad. Discussion. I understand that. I'm going to tell you the truth. Me and my sister talked about this. I'm mad at Alexis for running her mouth.
Alexis, give her the benefit. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt on this. She did say she apologized. She said she regret what she did. She was on after party. Probably do something on about it later. But she did talk about being apologetic. And if she could do it again, she probably wouldn't. But she was looking out for her friend. But
guess what? First and foremost, you should address Binh because Binh is the one talking. So she should have said to Binh, and she said, I don't know, in this space when he was in the apartment, on that video, she said right then, she said, I told him, like just now, I told him you should be talking to your wife. Mm-hmm. Which, she should have said that before. She should have said, Binh, you know, I wasn't trying to be in y'all conversation, but Justin was on speakerphone, and I heard you talking, and you really should be talking to Morgan about that.
But I don't have
whatever you got to say.
But the problem is this: she acted like the man can't vent. He has somebody to vent to.
Right.
He wants to vent with somebody that's in the process. He doesn't want to vent nobody outside the process. He doesn't want to vent with the experts. Somebody else is going through. He's found a sounding board, which is Justin. And Justin has become his sounding board. There's nothing wrong with having a sounding board.
It's not. It's not. It's not. And we touched on this before. Again, sometimes when you're venting about your spouse, it may sound like you're talking ish, but you have to have somebody you can be completely transparent with and say those things like, don't be like Lindsay and rake your husband over the coals. Not saying that at all. It's a way that you vent where you're not dragging them. But you have to, he should be able to vent. And we're going to jump ahead. Her thing is, I specifically asked you not to talk to any of the other couples about the issues that we've been going through. Why? They can relate. They're in the same process. What are you being so, like, but I expect you not to, I can understand not sharing intimate details. That's understandable. But to expect him not to talk to nobody, I can understand not talking about it in a whole big group setting. But why can't I talk to somebody?
But she talked about the issue in group settings. To me, I think she wants it one way. She talks to Alexis. That's her friend. They have conversation, right? They converse. You don't think she's talked to Alexis about some of the issues or the other women about some of the issues? That's what you guys did. That's why they have all in this episode, this season, they have all these little group sessions that they've been part of and talk about this and y'all relate here and we're having conversations. So he wanted to do a one-on-one with Justin, I don't have no problem with him venting.
I don't
but
either.
I have a problem with him venting this time. I'm going to tell you why. My problem with him venting this time is that he already knew Justin has loose lips. And it got him in trouble the first time.
But this time it wasn't Justin having loose lips. This time it was Alexis listening in on their conversation because Justin had it on the speakerphone.
Right, but he should have listened this time and said, you know what? It's just me. Justin, look, don't go tell your wife anything. I need to vent to you. All right? Or don't
but even if he had said that, again, Justin didn't tell her it was on the speakerphone, and she was ear hustling, as a friend of ours would say. She was ear hustling.
That's just common courtesy. If I got you on speaker, you call me, I'm saying, yo, I got you on speaker, dog.
But yeah, I tend to think that they wasn't even in the same room.
Yeah.
That's what it sounded like to me.
And so, and then, you know, with Morgan's situation, it always came back to the BSN. She has not been able to let that go.
Before we dive to, let me finish this because we getting there. When she talked to her friend, again, we see in the video, she FaceTimed Binh when she got on him about being in the apartment, even then talking to her. And she was like, I fussed him and cussed him out. She fussed him and cussed him out. So we already know to build, Morgan's on 10. She's getting over the 10. Her friend says, I feel like you closing the door. Like, what are you doing? And you were so excited going into the marriage, but I feel like you're closing the door already. And so that goes to more building again. Morgan is on 10. She goes to go do some Muay Thai.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, she wakes up. It's our 1 month anniversary. I'm in my apartment and I'm not excited about the 1 month anniversary. I'm not looking forward to it. I don't want to see him, but I need to see him because I got to deal with it.
Yeah.
And she's basically like, he might got some surprise, but I got a surprise from Binh.
Mm-hmm.
I got a surprise for him.
She ready to give it to him, though. She's ready to go in, and she had the Ronda Rousey walk when she came up the street.
Oh boy, she was
when she came up the sidewalk. She was ready to go in.
She had prepared herself. She went to do the Muay Thai, and like she's in there like trying to get. I don't know when to say she wasn't even trying to get her anger out. She was doing it to get herself more angry. I think she was getting herself more angry, and they had plans to go back to the wedding venue and to re-say their vows. And she was like, I definitely got some vows for him. He do not know what's coming to him. And boy, did he not.
Calm before the storm, dog.
It wasn't even a calm before the storm.
It was just a storm. A storm was coming and he got no warning.
Because going into this Monthiversary thing, he's like, I ain't talked to her. He said, I got a surprise for her. And he was like, I'm all happy about it. But he says, I'm not sure if she's still mad because I ain't talked to her.
That's the problem. That's the problem. I wouldn't have showed up, dog.
She won't talk. She has not talked. And I think he said this, like he's reached out to her and she's not talking to him.
I know that. And
meanwhile, she been sitting there fuming and steaming. And
wouldn't have been no Monthiversary. I'm tell you that much. I know they on the show and production made him do that. Wouldn't be no Monthiversary. Wouldn't have spent a dime.
Like you said, she walked up with that. You call it the Ronda Rousey walk. It's called a BMF.
Yeah, she just walked, dog. She
BMF walk. She came. She walked up there with a purpose. Like she almost had her fist balled up, and he was like, "Hey, happy to see you. Here's some roses." And he was like, "Be careful, they got thorns." She says, yeah." Boom, threw him on the ground. I said, "Oh snap!"
She got the right one, cause he got good temperament. He has good patience. I dare you not. His patience is on 100%. He gets a grade A for me with patience. I'm a kind of patient guy. But he was patient to the point that he was foaming at the mouth.
I don't even think it was patient.
It's shock.
But remember, let's look back. Binh said that he was used to accommodating.
Yeah.
Going back to being the only Asian in the neighborhood. He got picked on. So what he would do is he will overachieve and he'd be overly nice. So this is him being overly nice because his thing is, I just want her to be happy. I'm trying to understand what's going on. Like, he is in the dark. Again, she been sitting there fuming and hyping herself up to be mad. She been in there punching bags and in the ring getting all hyped up and that adrenaline pumping. And she came in there ready to go.
I know production can't get involved, but they should have told dude what he was walking into.
I felt so bad for Binh because he was like... And she was like... She threw them roses down and she said with her vows, she was excited. She thought she was getting a husband that would have her back at all times. But those vows she made was not for him. And he's not the person, the husband for her. You know, I'm giving you one chance to explain. You've been going to Justin the whole time. And when I would ask you what y'all talked about, you would say, oh, we didn't really talk about nothing when the guys met. And I asked you not to share our problems. You told me you didn't share the problems. And, you know, she was like, I asked you specifically not to talk about it with the guys. And he was like, but I didn't. But not only did you talk...
She tried to give him one chance to explain, but would not let dude talk.
Would not.
Would not let him talk. Wouldn't let him get a word in.
He was like... and she would say something else. And
it was like you watching a parent scold their child.
It was terrible.
It was like a parent scolding their little child, and he could not say a word in edgewise. If you say one more, you say one more, you say... And I felt bad for him.
It was painful to watch.
Wouldn't have stood there and took it.
It was painful. It was so painful to watch. She said that according to, you know, what came to her, that Justin said that Binh told Justin more than just the nurse thing. Alexis said that she overheard Binh saying that she's mad because my family is perfect. And this is what I said. But we know that's not true. I just don't... I think I was talking to my sister about this. I just don't believe that he said to Morgan that she... said to Justin that Morgan's mad because my family is perfect. Because he acknowledged my family's not perfect. That he's from an Asian family where if you don't do this, it's like... you're not acceptable, like you're not really doing anything. Right. And he realized that I had daddy issues. I couldn't measure up with my dad. He wasn't, he didn't appreciate, didn't acknowledge what I did. So he knows his family's not perfect. So I just can't imagine him saying that. I feel like that was taken out of context.
Somebody's lying, though.
But my problem is, you're coming to him, telling him, Alexis said you said this, Alexis said you said that, Alexis said, instead of saying, so what did you say, Binh? And giving him time to say, this is what I said. When he tried to say it, she was like, stop lying.
And what he said was, let's call Alexis. That's what you wanted. The way she handled this, you should have had all parties in the room. Alexis should have been in the room. Justin should have been in the room. Morgan in the room. Been in the room. We're sitting down at somebody's kitchen table, and we're going to hash this out. Because, again, he can't win here. Because she's going to believe Alexis over him. Because she has a better relationship with Alexis than she does with her own husband. So she's going to believe Alexis because Binh has defied her. Binh has broke her trust. Alexis has not done that. And so, again, bruh could not have said, he could have said the sky was blue, and she wasn't going to believe him.
It was just terrible. It was terrible. She says, you know, I've never talked to the other couples about our issues because I have respect for you and you don't have any respect for me, because that's the one thing I asked you not to tell. And then you didn't just talk to Justin, you talked to Miguel. And he was like, but I talked to Miguel because you brought up the people pleasing thing, so I asked him about the people pleasing. That's the conversation I had with Miguel.
Right.
And, you know, they talked about the trust was rebuilding, but now you broke it again. And I see you for the person you are. Any ounce of respect I had for you is gone. So enjoy the dinner on your own. And she storms off. I was like, good God. And he was standing there like...
The moment you go to your car and be like, good. Fine. Because look, man, it's not to him, it's not a win-loss. And he's stunned. He's shocked. I understand. He's not used to this, right? He didn't know whether to chase after or stand still. Production really had to tell him, like, go after her. Production stopped her. He didn't know which way to move. She has him at a point now where he doesn't know where he's coming or going. He doesn't know what to do or what to say because she scared him that much. He doesn't know if I do. He's talking about a true example of somebody walking on eggshells. Dude is walking on eggshells. He does not know what to do.
Yeah, the producer catches her and tries to talk to her, and she's crying. She says, I'm crying because I'm frustrated. And she says he's not going to talk. Basically, he's not going to admit what he did wrong. So I don't want to talk to him. And I think we didn't see the producer say something to him, but I'm sure the producer did go say something to him. And so that's what prompted him to come talk to her. And she was like, I'm not getting ready to sit over there and talk to you if you're not going to own up to it. If you're just going to lie, I'm not going to sit over there and talk to you. And as soon as you start lying, I'm going to walk away. And he was like, all off the top, he's like, I apologize for everything. In his vignette, he's like, everything's been a nightmare for him. He was like, I'm darned if I do and I'm darned if I don't. I'm fighting an uphill battle. I don't know what to do. And so when they sit down and talk, he said he tries to explain himself. And, he said, I've been talking to someone that I trust. I've been trying to vent and, get an understanding because I don't understand. Maybe it's something I'm doing. He can't really ask her if it's something I'm doing wrong, because she definitely gonna say it's something I'm doing wrong. I can't get no ideas of what to do, right? Because you're not giving me a chance. I gotta talk to somebody else. And so he's like, I'm just venting.
He's doing everything. He's want to know. Again, I can imagine what he's venting to Justin about. I'm getting her favorite food. I'm doing different things in the house. I'm trying to romance her. I'm trying to break down walls down, but nothing's happening. How are you doing this with Alexis? Because again, goes back to the point. This is what a man thinks. They've always said that we are just alike. Morgan says she's like Alexis. Alexis says she's like Morgan. So Binh is using Justin because he looks at his marriage as being close to Justin. So he's saying, look, what are you doing to help Alexis get her walls down? Maybe I can do the same thing for my wife. And this is not working for me, Justin. How are you able to do this? And Justin may say, you know what? It's not working for me. It is a conversation going back and forth that they're having.
She was like, to me, it's when you go talking to him, even though you say you talking to somebody you trust, it's lying to my face. You're putting Justin in the middle of our marriage. And that's the one thing I asked you not to do. And if she dwells on the broken trust again, you've been talking ish about me, and it would be easy for me to walk away, but I'm gonna continue in the process. And this is the part that I was like, God, no. She said, I'm gonna continue in the process because I want you to see me show up, and I want you to see me every day and remember and know how much you've hurt me. And I was like, good God.
Manipulation at its finest. Revenge at its finest. She's trying to manipulate him to get back because a few minutes earlier, you ready to walk away. A few minutes earlier, you ready to tuck your tail and run. If I'm him, I don't go back to his apartment. If I'm him, I don't even finish this relationship. If I'm him, I don't even finish this man. Are we going to work it for us trying to get in a relationship and work it out? Or I'm just here because you're trying to be revengeful and manipulative. If that's the case, guess what? Deuces. But is she right about him putting Justin in his marriage? Yes, she's right about him putting Justin in the middle of a marriage. Should Binh have continued to talk to Justin? Probably not. Should he have talked to somebody else? Sure. All right?
She don't want him to talk to nobody. Because she even had a problem with him talking to Miguel. She don't want him to talk to nobody. I have a problem with that.
Then what it is, she's the abuser in the relationship, and no one says it, and no one's saying it, and no one's calling her that, but I'm gonna call her that. She's the abuser in the relationship because if it was Binh doing that to her, the internet would go off, right? Social media will go off because what she did was she hit him, and then she's trying to confine him, control him, and manipulate him. Because last season, everybody was going off on Elijah Wan for when he tried to do that Katina. She's not any better than Elijah Wan, and I think that's the issue right there. She is going off just as if the roles were reversed, it'd be a big problem.
I thought you were going to go somewhere else with it when you talked about her being the abuser.
She is. No, the words, the manipulative language, the way she undressed that man in front of all production and now in front of America. That's bad.
Yeah, no. But what I was going to say, I thought you were going to go in the direction with her being an abuser, talking about how she wants to control the narrative. Like she doesn't want her inadequacies to be exposed. That's why she don't want to talk to anybody. She doesn't want because that's the one thing she said, that Alexis was like, I'm listening to him talking and I have a relationship with you and this is not the same person I see. Honey, Alexis, duh. As a girlfriend, you're not going to see the same person that you see in the marriage. You're not going to see that person because you're not married to her.
Yeah.
And so that's what I see as, that's what I thought you were going with the abuse part, because she's trying to control the narrative, and she don't want him to talk to anybody because she wants to maintain a certain image.
True. Which
is actually not her, because she's a freaking bully. Oh. She's a freaking bully. She really is. I felt so bad, and Binh is so, and I don't mean this in a sissy kind of way. He's so tender and he's so soft and caring and kind, and she's taking advantage of that. Just like I said before, take that man off the cross. Take that man off the cross. Her friend said it. His friend said it. Pastor Cal said it. How long you gonna hold this against my man? Good God. He said, I apologize to everybody. And her thing is, but you apologize, but you went and did it again. But, again, who's he supposed to talk to? You won't let him talk to nobody. Come on, that's a problem.
But now she wants to talk to the experts. But I blame the experts, too. Maybe they should be more involved and more accessible. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what she said.
He has the opportunity to talk to them.
Yeah, that's what she said. The next 4 weeks, he was like, it's the next 4 weeks to decide if it can work or what. She was like, I don't know. We'll have to talk to the experts and see. I'm emotionally exhausted, and I need to take the time to think about where I am and what I want. And we see Binh going to the honeymoon suite alone. I was like, this is pitiful. And there their basket with their vows and their pictures is sitting there. And I was like, he had a room set up all nice, or production helped him put the room all together all nice. And I mean, he just went in there moping. Like, he didn't cry. I said, it's like Friday. He gonna cry when he get in the car. He was so beat down, like that. It was just terrible. I felt so bad. I was just venting to Justin. Trying to, it feels like I got punched in the face today. And, when I tried to defend my case, I couldn't. And the producer's like, so are you going to stay or you leave? He's like, I'm not staying here. I'm leaving. And I just want her to be happy. I want to be happy. Like, overall, Binh is a happy-go-lucky person, and she is bursting his bubble every chance. It's terrible to be the upbeat, the happy person in a relationship. And I'ma just flat out, Morgan should not have been matched. I don't know what she said or I don't know how she portrayed, but she has some terrible, deep-seated issues that being married to a stranger is not beneficial. She should not.
They failed Binh.
She should not have been matched.
Yeah, they failed Binh on this one. They did. It's not good.
She should not have. It's at least 2 people on here, I'm going to say, that we've seen their issue to the point where I don't think Lindy should have been matched either.
No.
But Morgan, definitely.
But Lindy has a person that can handle hers. And Morgan doesn't.
And I think the other thing with Lindy is I think she's a little more cognizant that it is an issue, and Morgan's
a fighter, so she's gonna fight. Morgan's a fighter, she's gonna fight, and that's fight verbally, fight physically, whatever the case may be. She's a fighter.
So last but not least, we see everybody go to the couple dinner. They go on the party bus. People are like, okay, where's Binh and Morgan? Of course, Justin and Alexis know. Nobody else knows, but of course they're not gonna say they know. Alexis was like, I don't know, and Justin was like, they're not. Well, they did say they're not coming. Justin threw in Bhin's taking a mental health day. But they didn't address Morgan. But Krysten's like, shoot, me and Mitch, we've been having our rough times. I didn't know it was a choice whether to come to this or not. Well, I think it's interesting. She took her choice, but okay. So at the table, one thing I want to remark is Stacia made a comment about Mitch. Was like, oh, wow, look at Mitch all dressed up. He got a blazer on.
Yeah, they were surprised.
He got dress shoes on and a color shirt. Wow. After he didn't want to put that other shirt on. Look at Mitch. Wow.
We all know Mitch didn't want to look like everybody else.
But they all talk about, where they are now. Miguel says things have been going well and everything is working out. Lindy said in the past, she'd been able to walk away and get away with murder. But, Miguel's been holding her accountable. It's taking a lot of work on her end, and, he's with the work. Stacia shares that it's been growing pains for her. She knows what she wants and who she is, but she still realized that she has some growing to do when it comes to dealing with somebody else and how she's so upfront with her emotions. But Nate is not. Nate says, I have to take I'm the type to take a more calm approach. Yeah. I feel like we complement each other. We have a lot in common, and we see the bigger picture. And he shares, he shares at the table. I feel like I'm falling in love with her. I want somebody that's going to be my best friend and we can do life with. And he says, I see her being my best friend. And everybody's like, ooh, and ah for them. And so when it comes to Krysten and Mitch, Krysten says, I want him to go first.
I like her. I like that because, I don't want you to bounce off of me. I want you to say what you feel. Right? And so then I already know what I want to say, but I want you to go first. And I'm sure she probably make him go first on decision day.
Yeah. She said, I want you to go first. And so Mitch says, it's been difficult. He's never lived with somebody before. So this was really a leap of faith for him. It's a journey of self-discovery. And, he wasn't sure if he had the capacity to be a husband, which I think y'all might have talked about this on the panel Sunday, and we've talked about it before. It's like being a husband was on his bucket list, and he has checked off.
Oh, he checked it off.
He's checked off being a husband on his bucket list.
And now
that's really what it was to him. Because for him to sit there and say, it's a leap of faith for me, it's about self-discovery, and I didn't know if I had the capacity to be a husband.
He didn't ever think it would happen until he found the right person. He thought he was too extreme in his views and his belief and who he is to ever get to this point. And
on the flip side, then Krysten responds that basically she was like, I came in this prepared to be a wife. Yes. You didn't come in prepared to be a husband. She said, I was a wife before I came into this process. You weren't. She said, he's an incredible man, and I have no doubt how hard he's been trying. But he's been saying a lot of stuff that I'm like, based on what you're saying, do you know you signed up to be a husband? Like, what you saying don't sound like somebody that signed up to be a husband. It's like he struggles to be a husband. She came into this, like I said, already a wife.
Well, no man comes to being a husband. There's some characteristics you have. You don't prepare for this marriage thing. I mean, you could prepare, but it's like there's no game plan. There's no book that's written. There's certain things you can do, but there's certain things that you just don't understand. And because you're dealing with a person that you got to live with every day, that you got to deal with every day, deal with their emotions, their feelings, and same thing with wives, vice versa. So you can't come. And she said, I came in this thing as a wife. No, you didn't, because you was hurt and you was broken by the fact that the guy left you at the altar. Now you had an idea what a wife does, and we see some of that. She's back. She's appeasing. She's losing herself. She's losing who she is. That's not what a wife's supposed to do. Lose herself in a marriage. She said that's why she had a verbal vomit at the table, because she was losing herself.
But I think when she says I came in as a wife, meaning I understood that it would be some work that would need to be done. There'd be some things that like we're putting two lives together. I think she realized that, it was work that needed to be done, not just on her part, but it may be some on her spouse. But so what she's saying is, I came in ready to be a wife, like to make a home, to make a happy home, and to relate to somebody and deal with someone. And you came in just to have that person adapt to you. That's what she means. She came in understanding that marriage and being a wife is a give and take. And he basically came in on the, I'm going to give it and she going to take it. I think that's what she was saying. Okay. But she did say, it's going so well because I'm trying so hard and I'm compromising. But when do I get to stop trying to please him before I snap, because I'm getting ready to snap. And she basically snaps. And she was like, I might completely lose it on Mitch. And this is where I snapped. She said, I'm putting in a whole lot of work. And he is too. But I came in more emotionally prepared. And she was like, I apologize for the verbal vomit. But, like, I just want to be real. And he was like, it's fine. Be yourself. Express yourself. He allowed her that. And she was like, I don't want you to tiptoe around. I want you to be yourself. And I want you to know it won't shut me down if you tell me that I'm stifling you. You know, and so that's what she's been leery of. I don't want to tell him this because, like, I don't know how he's going to take it. He's like, I'm a big boy. I can take it. Go ahead and tell him.
So she's being dishonest with herself. And I think sometimes she was being dishonest with herself about how he's going to take it. And if you feeling that way, don't allow yourself to be emotionally depressed or emotionally down. Share with your spouse. Tell them how you feel. She felt comfortable in the space with everybody at the table to share. That which means she didn't feel comfortable just sharing it with Mitch.
So then, as we go around the table, now it's Justin and Alexis' turn. And Justin says, you know, I've seen a lot of... he comments, I've seen a lot of growth in Mitch. You know, that's good for you, Mitch. And you remarked, because I had looked away at the moment. He was like, no, you got to see her face. While Justin is commenting on Mitch, Alexis making a face like...
This Negro here.
Okay. And...
That's what it was like. Look at this Negro.
He asked, I think he kind of noticed it, and he was like, you alright? And she was like, I'm fine. You know, they asked, what about you, Alexis? And she says, I don't want to talk in this moment. I just want to listen. And in her vignette, she says, I'm trying to be respectful of my husband because he feels like he's making progress. And he feels, you know, he could comment on somebody else's progress. But I feel like he's not making progress. Mm-hmm. That's how I feel. And so, as we come back from her vignette, you know, he remarks to her, I find it odd that you don't have anything to say. And it seems like, you know, we're not doing good. She was like, no, I'm not upset. If I was upset, I would tell you I'm upset with you. Not upset. Mm-hmm. And what he says is, no, but usually you have something to say. And so now that you don't have anything to say, it makes me feel like maybe we're not in a space or place that I think we are. That she's somewhere else. And, you know, he's talking to her, just to her. And obviously people notice him talking. And he's like, he wasn't though.
Everybody heard him.
But he was talking to her.
Well, that's why she made a comment. Everybody heard him.
And so, she was like, I don't want to share, but obviously my husband wants me to share. He has a problem with me not sharing. And he was like, but no, I don't want you to share. I just basically like want to know why you don't want to. And so she says, and now he's over here pouting, and that's my problem with you. You don't self-regulate. You're inconsistent. It's like I feel like I'm getting Jekyll and Hyde, and this is the thing that happens all the time. This is how you act. And when you come back to apologize about how you act, you tell me you're passionate, and it's the way it comes out when you apologize for how you act. It hurts when you act that way, and then when you come back and apologize, I accept your apology, but it still hurts. And he says, but what did I do in this moment? Because she says, you know, you do things that you say you're not going to do. He said, in this moment, what did I do that I said I wasn't going to do? And she was like, I just need a break. It was just painful. Now, it wasn't as bad as Morgan and Binh, but everybody at the table was like, oof, wow. And Miguel's like, it's fine, you know, take your time, do what you want. Why are you looking at me like that?
Because I'm waiting for you to finish.
Okay, I'm finished.
I have nothing to say.
Okay. But you had a whole lot to say last night.
Oh, I got a lot to say now, but this video, we already been an hour in, and I want to go in because we'll be on this for a long time. We guys got to do something.
But
separate.
You got to say something.
I'm like Alexis. I have nothing to say. No, I'm just kidding. All right, here we go. y'all don't even understand. I wish we'd recorded last night. Cause
no, I don't.
I do. Look, I understand where Justin is coming from. All right, and I understand where Alexis is coming from. My problem is the same issue I had last night, that he didn't read between the lines, right? He didn't read the fact that she didn't want nothing. Just leave it alone, bruh.
No, the reading between the lines is your issue was why couldn't he see or
understand
or fathom that maybe she's not saying anything because she doesn't want to hurt my feelings. And what I try to explain to you is that he's an overthinker. So that would be a positive way to think about it. But he's an overthinker, and the whole premise of being an overthinker is you go to the negative. And so we talked about the thing is when you deal with an overthinker, she should have just been straight out with him and said, Justin, I don't want to talk. I don't want to share in this moment because there are some things that I just feel like this wouldn't be the right place, and I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. That way, he don't have to speculate and have these wheels turning about what's going on in her head. I wonder what she's thinking. I'm probably not that good of a husband. Blah, 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 blah. And that's what started, his wheels started turning, and she should have just said in that moment, besides, I just don't want to talk, say, and this is the reason why.
And my thing was, even when she gives him the reason why, he's going to feel some type of way.
Not necessarily. That was the whole conversation we had, too.
Right.
That's an assumption, too.
That is an assumption.
That's an assumption, too. But she didn't even give him the chance to have a reaction because she didn't do that. Instead, she went the other way. And, of course, that's going to get you the reaction that you think you're going to get.
Yeah, again, it gave him a reaction, got her upset, got him upset. They had to leave the table. It was kind of embarrassing for both of them to be able to go that deep in and to show that they have some deep issues. And the issue that she said, I'm tired of babying you. Basically, she said, I'm tired of babying you. I'm tired of, she's tired of bending backwards to meet his emotional needs. And she's like, what about what about my emotional needs, right? It hurts me because you hurt me. When you say things, you hurt me. When you do things, you hurt me. And I'm bending backwards to meet your emotional need. But all you're doing is saying, I'm sorry. And you're not doing anything to meet my emotional need.
But here's the thing. And we're about to wrap this up. But here's the thing. That Alexis and her sisters said from the jump. You can't say I'm not doing anything to meet your emotional needs when you have said up front, I'm not an emotional person. So you already came in acknowledging that I'm a hard person. I don't share my emotions. I don't get emotional. So how can I attend to your emotional needs when you say I'm not an emotional person and I don't let people into that space? I'm uncomfortable sharing how I feel. So how can I address how you feel when you don't even want to share? She said that multiple times. I'm uncomfortable in this moment. When he's sharing his feelings, she's uncomfortable. She never shares hers.
Which goes back to the original point when she says, I don't want to share. He should have already went back to that conversation. She don't want to share. Because she told him, I'm a jelly bean. I'm hard on the outside. I'm soft on the inside. So if you know your wife does not share emotionally and don't want to share, when she says I don't want to share, take the fact that because she's already told you I'm not emotional and I don't like sharing.
I told you I think he gets that, but again he's an overthinker. So he's like, but why don't you? So just tell him why you don't want to share.
Yeah, y'all let us know what you think. Please leave a comment in the comment section below. I put a poll up on the community. Who you think was at fault, Justin or Alexis, neither or both. I'm just interested to see what you guys think about this. Could this situation been alleviated? Could they not have gone deep in this discussion? Do you blame one? Do you blame both? Let us know in the comment section. As you see, we got different opinions on that, which is healthy. All right, which is healthy. You all right? You good? Mm-hmm. Okay, we good. I just want to make sure. Hey, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell notification so you don't miss any of our reviews. Please leave a comment in the comment section below and join us on this Sunday for our panel discussion as we discuss Justin, Alexis, Stacia and Nate, as well as Binh and Morgan, much more. All right. Once again, thank you very much. Appreciate you guys. And guess what? Have a great rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye.